This movie made it feel like someone ripped in my chest and pulled out my still beating 16-bit heart. This. Oh, This is one of the dumbest things I have seen in a long time. Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron.
I'm Michelle.
And I know that there's a lot of people out there who like this movie. You can just tune out now. Yeah, I got nothing for you on this one. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to string coherent thoughts together, but then again, neither did this movie, so hey, why should I start now? We're here to talk about the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie. Oh, man.
You were talking about how you prefer watching the original Mortal Kombat movie.
Well, I mean, yeah, that one's like campy fun.
This wasn't campy fun for you?
This is just stupid. You want to know how bad this was? As soon as the movie was over, you said to me, well, at least it wasn't as bad as Monster Hunter, and I was dead silent, because I actually had to, like, weigh them in my head. And I'll be real with you, I don't know if it is. I honestly might prefer to watch Monster Hunter again if I had to choose one of the two.
If it were up to me, I would rather watch Mortal Kombat, because there's a lot of stupid shit in Mortal Kombat, but at least shit happens in Mortal Kombat. Like, nothing ever happens in Monster Hunter until, like, the final act.
This is the weirdest. This is such a weird movie to talk about, because I agree with you. Stuff is happening in here. Lots of things are happening. But when you look at, like, plot, not really. Nothing really happens in this. Like, I can count the number of sets on one hand in this movie, because it really feels like they just got a bunch of cosplayers together. It was like, fuck it, ad-lib. Like, just, I don't know, do things on camera. Did you ever play the game? Say a thing from the game, everybody. It is crazy to me how this feels like nothing is happening, and yet they have too many things happening. How did that happen? How did you, like, how? Fucking how? I hate this movie. Like, just not, like, hate.
Okay, looks like we know which thumbnail we're gonna use for this review.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. Oh man, has it been a while since we had to break this thumbnail out. Oh, I'm gonna have to blow some dust off this thing. Oh man, I'll let you guys know, normally every single year we do this little marathon, which we go back and we watch the worst movies of the previous year. And we call it the Gauntlet of Garbage. But we didn't do this year because 2020 was such a bad year, and there weren't a lot of movies that came out in 2020 that I thought would just be too mean-spirited to go, hey, what few movies did come out? Well, we're going to make fun of you. It's like, nah.
Nah.
We're not going to do that. However,
2020 was a Gauntlet of Garbage.
Yeah, that was it. However, we did record, but I never ended up putting it up. We did record a review for Monster Hunter, and that was going to be like our one-shot Gauntlet of Garbage, but we just never ended up putting it up because I was like, well, it's been too long and nobody's even talking about this movie anymore. So for anybody who is sad that you missed out on the Gauntlet of Garbage this year, I'm about to roll it all into this thing because, again, I don't know if I've made this clear. I hate this fucking movie. It's so bad. I know the comments are going to come in here and say, well, at least it's better than Annihilation. At least it's better than Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It is better than Mortal Kombat Annihilation, but I'm going to say something right now. Mortal Kombat Annihilation has a more coherent story. It does. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, our dog just tripped over the wire. Peach, no, it's okay.
Yeah,
you can't make me happy about a thing right now, Peach. I have to be mad.
She looks so sad now. It's like, I'm sorry.
It's okay, buddy.
And she came in here with her bear, too. Her little stuffed bear. It's like, oh.
Get up here, buddy.
Oh, those sad puppy dog eyes. She was just trying to make you feel better.
Okay, I feel better now, Pete. There you go. There you go. Okay. Yeah, Mortal Kombat Annihilation has a more coherent story. I'll go ahead and say that right now. Because you know how in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, it is a whole lot. This character popped up, and then someone said what that character is, and now that character is gone. At least someone said what that character is in that one. This movie just has random shit all over the place. But then they treat the random shit like it's supposed to mean something. And it's like, no, it doesn't. Not at all. Like, there's going to be so many people out there saying, well, this wasn't a movie for general audiences. This was a movie for the fans. I am a fan. This movie's terrible. This is awful. And I have come to realize over the years there's two types of movies for fans out there. There are the fans of things that realize that movies have their own structure to them, and when they adapt something from the source that they enjoy into a movie, they want to see it adapted into a film, and they want a coherent film that actually is good. There are also the other people out there who they just want to do the Leonardo DiCaprio meme and go, ooh, that thing, that thing, that thing. If you're in that second group, you're going to love the shit out of this movie because it is nothing but that. It is nothing but that, but if you want to come in here, do you want to stand up? Wait, there you go. There you go. But if you want to come in here and you want a movie that actually, tells a story, actually has like stuff set up, actually has characters that you enjoy, you ain't getting any of that shit. None of it. This movie, it actually starts off kind of strong. Like, I went into this thing with the opening scene, I was like, okay, you know what, I'm kind of on board with this already. Like, I had seen that was getting not great reviews, but I was like, well, maybe it's just people don't want the campiness. Like, I mean, hell, the original Mortal Kombat movie didn't get great reviews. Like, a lot of those cheesy, corny movies from the 90s didn't get good reviews, but they're fun. And this movie starts off, with Scorpion, okay, bud. It starts off with Scorpion when he was still a human hundreds of years ago, and he is attacked by Sub-Zero back when he was still a human, and yet he still had ice powers back then. But he is attacked by him, and he's attacked by him because there's like some kind of a prophecy, but we don't know that yet. That gets explained in a second. But gets explained in the worst possible way. But he's attacked by them, and it starts off, and the scene is actually pretty decent. There's some mildly flimsy editing. Like, there's a couple of moments where you can tell, like, there's a few frames missing from a good, smooth transition from one shot to the next, but it's mostly okay. It's some decent action in there. And it's pretty bloody action. It's Mortal Kombat, so of course it's going to be bloody. And I was kind of enjoying it, but then there comes like one moment in that opening sequence which I'm like, oh, that's kind of, well, I don't know about that. That's kind of hokey. In which Scorpion, he gets attacked, his sword's destroyed, and now he's surrounded by assassins. And they had set this up in which you see like his wife planting stuff in the garden, and she is using
spade.
Yeah, I believe that's what they're called. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's digging into the dirt with that. But it's kind of like, I realized after watching this what it actually was, is that basically they're trying to set up that like Scorpion used to be some kind of a big killer assassin guy, but now he's retired, so his weapon was now being used for gardening. So, because at first I thought, I was like, are you going to make it so that Scorpion's spear is a garden tool? Yeah, is that what you about to set? But then I realized,
he just smashes someone over the head with a rake.
But then I realized, no, it's the other way around. It's that it was a weapon, but now he's retired, so it's being used as a gardening tool. It's like, okay, it's what's that famous line from the Bible? Beat your swords into plowshares.
I guess.
I think that's from the Bible. You're the Bible expert here. Anyway, but I was like, okay, well, that's kind of like a cool thing now that I realize what that was. But then there comes a moment in which is like his sword's destroyed, he's surrounded by assassins, so he runs up to the spear and starts wrapping a rope around it. And I was like, wow, it sure is nice of all of his assassins to just stand there and wait as he goes in and prepares a weapon. And it was that first little crack in the armor of this pretty good scene, and then the entire thing just starts splitting wide open after that. Because you got Scorpion ends up getting killed by Sub-Zero, and I did kind of enjoy that, okay, they're staying true to like the lore of these two characters. I did enjoy that part. I also did enjoy, this is a small thing, like this is like bomb barrel requirements on this one, but I did enjoy that Scorpion was Japanese and Sub-Zero was Chinese, because people constantly like think that Sub-Zero is also is also Japanese. So I was like, okay, that's kind of like, I did enjoy that part. And there was like a moment in there that I found to be kind of interesting in which Sub-Zero, Bihan, I should probably actually use his name, was talking to Scorpion, and he was talking in Chinese, and then Scorpion goes, I don't understand your words. I was like, so you guys are just like shit-talking each other, and neither of you know what the other one is saying, which that comes back a little bit later on. But then you cut to the present, and we are now following this brand new OC that they made up for this thing. Like, this character, he is not in any of the games at all, and he is a mixed martial artist, and he's getting his ass kicked. Like, he just sucks. And he's getting his ass kicked, and then his daughter, or, like, his girlfriend's daughter, I don't really know.
I don't know really what the relationship is, but...
It's never established.
His family, that's what he calls them, so... Yeah,
because, like, part of me would think that's like, okay, well, that's his kid in there, but there's a thing in here about how birthmarks are passed down from one person to the next, and like that, if that was a thing and that was like his blood daughter in there, you would assume that would come up with her as well, but it doesn't. So I was like, okay, well, that's clearly then not, like, that's clearly his girlfriend's daughter, or maybe they're married and that's his wife. I don't know.
And it's not until like way later in the movie where they explain, like, where he explains that like he's an orphan and that's why, or
I kind of got the feeling, like, I got the feeling early on because this movie has no originality to it. So I was like, I know exactly what kind of a kid, like, I know he is like orphan. I didn't know where my family came from, and I'm chosen by destiny. Like, yeah, of course you are. There's nothing original about you.
That's like the recipe for a Gary stew, right there.
That's the recipe for like protagonist. That's it. Like, I instantly knew this character's backstory the moment he popped up because there is nothing original about him.
There's nothing original about this original character.
It is so crazy to me that, like, he is the original guy that they created to be our guide to the Mortal Kombat world. And first off, not only is he, like, not a decent guy, like, any of the other normal Earthrealm humans in here would be just fine guides to the world of Mortal Kombat. But all of them have way more personality. Don't get me wrong, 90% of them still suck. But at least they have some kind of personality. This dude is a plank of wood.
A plank of wood who can't fight.
Yeah. In this,
so it's like, wow.
In this fighting game adaptation, this dude sucks. He is terrible in here. And his little daughter over there screaming out during the fight, used the uppercut, and that was the next, like, big chunk of this armor that started coming off. Because if you know Mortal Kombat, you know the uppercut is kind of a broken move, at least in the earlier game.
Yeah.
Like, you would hit him, and then he'd go flying, and someone would yell out, "Toasty!" Mm-hmm. Which, that was, like, one of the few, like, Easter eggs that they could have put in here, but they didn't. Because he's fighting in front of a giant crowd. He could have, like, given an uppercut, and someone in the crowd could have, like, held up a sign that said Toasty or something like that.
Or
like,
maybe he was making breakfast and like the toaster pops out. It's like, Toasty.
It is that lazy. It is that fucking
really
lazy.
Is.
All the Easter eggs in here, it could have just been that. It could have just been that. So he gets his ass kicked, then all of a sudden Sub-Zero shows up, he starts attacking people, which that's actually a really cool scene. The scene in which Sub-Zero pops up and he starts like shooting stuff all over the place. That's actually good. And like, okay, we're back on track. We're back on track. I'm feeling this. And then like Jax goes in there, he rescues him, and then he starts explaining like the mortal, like he's got this OC, Cole, something Cole, no one cares about him. He's got
Coleslaw.
He's got this, we'll let that joke pass. He's got a birth tattoo that is the Mortal Kombat logo. I was like, brother, that is a dragon. Like, anybody can look at that, it is a dragon. And I don't mean like it's a bill lined and then it kind of looks like ice. No, it is like the Mortal Kombat like circle with the dragon face and mouth and eye and everything. It's like no one is looking at that going, well, that was an interesting birthmark. It's like, no, that's like, even in a world where you don't understand that mystical, magical powers and destiny exist, you would look at that and go, I think this is tied to some kind of weird, crazy, mystical, magical bullshit.
I was like, no, I got branded as a babe by some weird cult.
Something like, yeah, something like that. But then Jax pops up, and this is when I started going, oh, no. Because this is one of the biggest problems with this movie, is that this movie wants to explain stuff that doesn't need any explaining. Like, at all. Mortal Kombat in the games is a tournament in which you have Outrealm, and for generations they have had tournaments with Earthrealm. If they win 10 tournaments in a row, then they get to overtake Earthrealm, and that's basically like they want to overtake all the realms, and you have to win them through Mortal Kombat. And this thing, oh my god, I've skipped this. But after that opening scene with Sub-Zero, we then get text on screen.
Yeah.
That just says, Outrealm has now won 9 out of the 10 tournaments that they need.
Wow, that came out of nowhere.
If they win the next one, then they will overtake Earthrealm. But there is a there is a prophecy that foretells that the blood of Hanzo Hisashi, if they win, it will one day overturn the tournament. And I just looked at that and went, the setup and the lore for Mortal Kombat is so crazy and so in-depth and needs so much exploration. That can't be all that we get. That is all that you get.
It reminds me of the Avatar movie where they just have the huge wall of text, like not the Last Airbender, not the one with the blue aliens. I
would have to ask you that for that. Yeah, kind of. It is the laziest way that they could possibly have told this. And like, even people who know the lore of the games would look at that and be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
What? Yeah. It is crazy to me how little they actually gave of like, and that's one of the things about Mortal Kombat. For anybody who doesn't know, people out there are gonna be like, well, it's a fighting game, it's not gonna have a lot of story. With a lot of fighting games, true, Mortal Kombat is one of the ones that goes deep on lore. And yeah, this whole thing about the different realms and the way that the tournament works and the Elder Gods, that's a bunch of stuff that is kind of important to the plot, and they don't give you any of that except for just 3 paragraphs. That, not even paragraphs, like sentences.
3 sentences.
I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. That's all that we're getting. So there's no explaining of that. But then you get to meet Jax, and he's got the dragon tattoo as well. And then you meet Sonya, and she's talking about how Jax ended up hunting down this guy, and he had superhuman abilities, which, by the way, great chance for an Easter egg that they didn't take. Like,
yeah.
They didn't name anybody that could possibly have been. Nothing. They were
but they showed pictures.
There were a couple of pictures, and I will admit I stopped on those pictures, and I'm like, okay, well, that's Kotal Khan's helmet in there. I was like, okay, so that's some stuff in there. That's kind of nice. But like, yeah, which also there's like no explaining about how anybody knows any of this stuff from like the previous tournaments or anything, because like there's a moment in which like they go, yes, and we believe through the, and she's got the classic like giant wall of just things sticking there, because again, there's no originality in this movie, and she just points at like one thing and goes, yes, and we believe that there's a tournament that is held, and the only way to protect our world is through Mortal Kombat. And she points at a wall, and there's just graffiti that says Mortal Kombat. Like, how is anything you're pointing at the wall implying anything that you are talking about? Okay, and how are you getting any information? Like, how on earth do you know about a tournament? How?
But I will admit, I like that Cole actually pointed out that that's bullshit, and that he said, why did they spell combat with a K instead of a C?
We actually made that joke, and then he immediately said that joke as soon as we were done, and that kind of pulled me back. And I'm like, all right, that is the one thing I can say about
Cole. That's the thing. Is like this movie needs to go like full campy, or
it needs to go full something. It needs to be anything at all, and it's nothing.
Yeah, it's like, I got the feeling that this movie was really cheap, and I'm wondering how much...
I keep hearing people say, hey man, we have a Mortal Kombat movie that actually has some money invested. Do we? As I said, I can count the number of sets on one hand. There's so much nothing happening in this movie.
How much money was spent on this movie?
I don't know. Let's see if we can find out.
And how much did it make?
We're talking about this in a second. Yeah. You literally asked me, man, yesterday when we watched this, you literally asked me how much money did this make. I was like, it's the release day. We don't know. It's
like, sometimes I forget that things take time.
Yes. Plus, you still forget that if we're not going to the movie theaters, we don't know.
Yeah.
Like, if we're not going to the movie theaters, it's not necessarily new. Budget was $95 million. That is nothing to sneeze at. That's pretty decent.
So why did everything look cheap?
I don't. Well, in all fairness, there's a lot of CGI.
That's true.
In all fairness, for the amount of CGI that's in here, $95 is stretching it a bit. $95 million is stretching it a bit. So yeah, I can understand that. But, okay, I know I'm jumping around a lot, but oh my god, there's just so much stupid shit. I wish it jumped around. I wish it did anything. Well, no, there are moments where it jumps around, and then there's moments where nothing is happening. So, as I said, there's like no explaining about what Mortal Kombat is, but then you get over-explained on stuff that doesn't need explaining. You got the people who will fight in Mortal Kombat on behalf of Earthrealm, they have the tattoos, and these tattoos are, the dog's coming in here with more toys that you want us to play with. They have these tattoos, and if you kill someone with a tattoo, then you get the tattoo, and if you get the tattoo, then that will grant you special superpowers. And all I could think was, does anyone actually give a shit about how someone gets superpowers in a fighting game? Does anybody give a shit about how someone fires out a fireball?
Maybe not in a fighting game, but I guess since this is a movie, they want some sort of explanation.
Here's the thing, though. Liu Kang comes from a special temple where they have been trained specifically for this. All you gotta do is say, yeah, these are ancient lost techniques. Done. Mm-hmm. These are ancient lost techniques that are being taught to us at this temple. Done. Everybody else in here who has superpowers, aside from Cole, who is the brand new character, everybody else, their powers in the games come from technology. Like Kano in the games, he's got a cybernetic eye. Here he doesn't have a cybernetic eye. He shoots a laser beam out of his eye because he has the tattoo that grants him superpowers, and he has to go on a training montage to unlock his superpowers. I'm like, cyborg eye, done. That's it. Jax ends up getting his arms ripped out, which that's something that's from the canon, and he gets his arms ripped out and he has robot arms built on there. Here's the thing though, in the games he's got these really big buff robot arms, and here they give him these little tiny skeletal robot arms, but the people that give it to him are the monks from this ancient lost temple, and how do you guys have there's literally nothing. I don't even think you guys have indoor lighting, and you guys are now going up to Jax and you're building him little robot arms. Why are you doing what? How on earth do you guys have that technology in here?
It's not technology, it's magic.
Maybe it is.
We have magic to make you arms, but we don't have the technology to give you buff arms. Sorry.
I honestly don't know if it is magic in here, because there's no explain about why he just now has these little robot arms. It's so weird to me that he's got the little robot arms now. That's it. He's got little robot arms. I guess the magic monks maybe built it, or maybe it's magic. And the reason I say maybe it's magic is because now we're gonna get into a little bit of spoiler on here, but I don't give a crap. We're gonna get a little bit of spoilers on here. Like I said, everybody with a tattoo gets superpowers. There comes a moment in which Jax has to lift something off Sonya, and he's got the little arms come on, come on. And then you just see his powers activate, and then bam, he just all of a sudden his tiny arms just metal forms around them, and now he's got the big arms and he gets the super strength from that. And I kept looking at that going, why on earth did you have to give an explanation to Jax's robot arms? The only thing I can think of is that they would have looked at it and gone nah, robot arms, that technology is too advanced for the world that we're setting up here. So okay, well fine, you can't just give him robot arms because it doesn't fit the world you're setting up. But then they give him robot arms, but they're crappy robot arms. So they had to give him robot arms, but they couldn't give him the cool robot arms because they needed that to be the magic abilities that doesn't need explain. You don't need to explain robot arms. Just give him robot arms. But they wanted to explain robot arms. But they also just gave him robot arms. This is so stupid. My God, this is insanely dumb. This is so dumb. The dog is coming to comfort me. Hey, buddy, how are you? Yes, cute face. Oh my God.
Oh, she wants to lick you. She wants to give you kisses to make you feel better.
Yes, okay. Well, this will be a great time for a commercial break.
But there are no commercial breaks.
I'm in on YouTube. Okay. There you go, buddy. Okay. I've calmed down now. Pet the comfort dog.
Your emotional support dog.
I need one after this movie. Oh my God. And then we've only been talking about Earthrealm. Which, oh God, there's so many dumb things that happened in just the story structure in here. They were looking for Liu Kang's temple, and when they find it, he's walking up to him with the sun setting behind him, and yet it's clear blue sky for the rest of the set. And he goes walking up to them, and then Kano goes walking up to him, and Liu Kang shoots a fireball at Kano, knocks him down, and then immediately says, I am not your enemy. You attacked first with the fireball. And then immediately said, there's just the level of incompetence.
But then he never used the fireball ever again.
Like he uses it for a fatality later on. Like, that is it.
That's it.
That is it. And there's a moment in here, which, again, we're going full spoilers at this point. I don't give a shit. Kung Lao, his brother, ends up being killed by Shang Tsung, and Liu Kang is standing there, like, across the room going, no. I was like, you have a projectile, you idiot.
Like, there was, like, one scene where he, like, faces off Sub-Zero's like, oh, fire versus ice. He can use his fire powers to melt Sub-Zero's ice, and he fails.
No, he does.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
What happened? It's, yeah.
You idiots! You had the type advantage.
Again, just he's watching his. I'm sorry. In some version of the lore, they're brothers and some of his cousins, but in this, they're cousins. Well, in this, no, they're both just two orphans, but they call themselves cousins.
Whatever, they're related.
They're related. So he's watching his cousin get murdered, and all he has to do is just, like that, and he saves his cousin, and he's just. If only I could shoot a thing from my hands. It's just the laziest shit. It is the laziest shit. And you want to talk about lazy. Oh, the Outrealm gang. Oh, the Outrealmers. Oh, man. There's like a few shots that you get of Outrealm. And I was like, okay, well, that's nothing really all that special. Like, that's just a big, like, that one set is kind of nice, in which it's the giant throne that he's going up to. But then there's another one that's just a gravel pit, and that's all it is. It's just a gravel pit. That is all you get of Outrealm, is those two shots. That is it. Mm-hmm. And there were moments which I was like, well, you know, with this budget, they could actually really explore Outrealm a whole lot more. No.
Nope.
And he has, as I mentioned, in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, you'll have characters pop up as like, I'm this thing. You don't even get that in this. Like, they've got, like, there are characters in here that I had to stop and go, like, okay, I've played all the games. Even I have to go, who the fuck is Raiko? Who? Like, I had to stop for a second and go, oh, yeah, that guy? The jobberest jobber? Okay, fine. But they're all jobbers. They are all jobbers in this thing. Even the A-class villains are just like, I'm here to be here. Like I said, this movie, when you say it's made for fans, it is for the fans. It is for it's that character. Do you want them to do interesting things? I didn't ask for that. I am 100% satisfied by seeing a character on screen that I know the name of. That is all this is. Because, like, Melina is one of the most popular Mortal Kombat villains of all time. One of the most popular video game villains of all time. She is nothing in this film. She is nothing, and I can't. Again, if you are a Mortal Kombat fan, they introduced Melina, the clone of Katana. Her entire storyline revolves heavily around being a clone of Katana. Guess what? Ain't no Katana in here.
Nope.
Ain't no mention of a Katana in here.
Nope.
None of that shit at all. It is not important to her story because she has no story, because she is there to be the lady who holds size. That's her job. That's all that she's here for. So for the people out there who want Melina, hope you were okay with someone standing there and you could point at.
And had a normal mouth for most of the movie.
For most of the movie, and then at the end, they were like, and this is what we say budget for. That's it. See, she did the mouth thing, everybody. It's like, oh my fucking God. It's so bad. It's so terrible. Oh my God. And some of them, like, at least some of them fight, but there's other ones in here that it is laughable how quickly they're taken out in this thing. Like, there is a moment in which Nitara, which I'll admit, I know Nitara is not a big popular Mortal Kombat character, but I like Nitara. She's like a vampire pirate lady. She's kind of awesome. But yeah, I know that she's still from the dark ages of Mortal Kombat when it was in the 3D and everybody was like, ew. But I always like Nitara, but I assure you, this is not personal when I talk about how stupid this is. This is just bad writing in here. I keep wanting to say Shao Kahn. Shang Tsung, which, by the way, you want to know how poor of a job they do setting up characters in here? I didn't know that was Shang Tsung until halfway through the movie. You can attest to this. You can tell everybody out there it's true. There came a moment in which I literally went, oh my God, that's supposed to be Shang Tsung. Like, because I kept looking at it going, I guess that's just Sub-Zero's master. Like, his unnamed master from the games. All right, whatever. And it wasn't, and then, like, it kept going. I was like, wow, they're really just giving Sub-Zero's master like a lot of screen time in here. And then it finally dawned on me, oh my god, that's who that's supposed to be. The big villain of the first Mortal Kombat game. It's supposed to be that guy. And yet he's doing literally nothing in here but sitting on a throne. Like, for anybody out there who's like, oh yeah, Shang Tsung, he can like morph into other characters, and he can steal people's souls, and he can shoot out flaming fireballs with skulls from his hands. He does none of that, except at one point he sucks out someone's soul. Once. And that is it. He does nothing else in here throughout the entire film, except for walk up and go like, yes, now we will fight you. And the acting in here is so bad, by the way. It's so bad. It's terrible. Like, the guy who plays Shang Tsung, it looks like the bottom half of his mouth is not connected to the top half of his mouth, because he is constantly talking with his mouth like the bottom half of his mouth is trying to escape his face. It is, oh my god. Sorry, I need a second on this one. Okay, so if you're into the villains in here, like, oh yeah, I was talking about Nitara. Like, he's gathering together all the members of his team, and then Nitara comes flying down and goes, yes, allow me to introduce Nitara. And he, like, sets her up as being a thing. Hello, motorcycle outside. Is setting her up as a thing, and then there's a moment in which he invades the temple, and they're all fighting, and then he just goes, now, Nitara. And then she comes flying in like she's supposed to be some big deal. Kung Lao throws his hat on the ground, jumps over her, and then she just flies right into it and splits in half. That is literally all they do with her in here. And they, like, it had to be a joke. It had to be. Like, there's no way you're supposed to take that seriously, right? There's no way. And I don't mean, like, her, like, the way in which he's killed. No, I mean, now, come down, Nitara, and do this. Oh. That was a test to see if you guys could have, you know, like, that lucky few, that was our weakest member. It's like, are you fucking kidding me with that?
Giving her wings and flying her around cost too much money.
It's like, and budget ran out now. Like I said, for the people out there who's like, yeah, they had money now, I don't think they did. Oh my god. But
if they did have money, they didn't use it very well.
Wait, hold up. How much did Godzilla vs. Kong cost? Godzilla. Not Godzilla. Godzilla vs. Kong. What was your budget? What was your budget? That's the box office. What was the budget? Hold on. I'm looking this up. I don't care. We're not even coming away from this. I don't care.
Just type in Godzilla vs. Kong budget.
Here we go. Wikipedia will have it. It was 155 million. Okay, so it was more than this. Okay, so I'll give him that. At least. All right, because I was about to say, it was like, wasn't it around the same, I think? No, it was more. Okay. But yeah, it's like, that's just laughable, how they were taking that out. But like, all the villains are kind of laughable. Like, fucking Cabal pops up in here, and I don't give him this. Cabal's outfit is kind of cool. I actually like Cabal's outfit. But Cabal has this awful Brooklyn accent. Hey, yo, it's me, Cabal, everybody. You know, from the Mortal Kombat. I got the weird face mask on and everything. I got the super speed. And, oh, man, I sure hate that Kano guy, but I'm totally gonna still work with him for no reason. Oh my god, like, yeah, they set up that Cabal has problems with Kano, and they still just like, yeah, but I guess we can use him to, like, take over Earthrealm.
It's like, join the dark side, and it's like, Kano's like, okay, because I have no reason.
The biggest heel turn anyone could possibly have seen coming, which in all fairness, he's a villain in the games, but I was like, why are you even trying to set up that he's a hero if you're not going to try and, like, play around with that at all? Like, oh my god, because the video game fans know he's going to instantly become a villain. So for any of the casual people watching this, why aren't you going to at least try and tease them a little bit? No! It is obvious from day one he's going to be a villain in this thing.
Like, if you were a casual movie watcher and you didn't really know about the lore of Mortal Kombat, you would think Kano would be like that rough kind of asshole.
Han Solo.
Yeah, like basically like, you know, the lone wolf, but then he like joins up and like does the right thing and helps out his friends and everything. But nope, that was
no. Not at all.
That's because that's really how they set him up in this movie. Like,
Kind of, because he is working with them in the beginning. He's got, which in all fairness, you say that they're setting him up like that. I think the only reason why you think they're setting him up like that is because he is the only person in here with personality. He is it. That's it. Everybody in here, like, John Cole or whatever his name is. John Smith. I'm calling him John Smith from now on because he does not deserve like anything more than that. John Smith in here. He is just the most basic, blank, uninteresting character around. Like, he has no personality, no charisma, no nothing. But everyone else, like, if he wasn't in here, I'd be saying that about everyone else in this movie. The only reason I'm not saying about everyone else is because they're just, like, that much higher than him. Kano is the only one with a personality in here. That is it. Yeah, it's, ooh, man. Okay. We should probably talk about, oh, God. Okay. There's two things I want to talk about right now. So real quickly, we'll also say, when talking about the really bad fan service, because people keep saying, oh, there's tons of fan service. There's good fan service and there's bad fan service. This is bad fan service all over the goddamn place. There's so many things that they just stop to have characters say that are lines from the game that make no sense for anyone to say here. There's the moment in which, like, lizard attacks at the beginning. No, sorry, reptile.
Yes.
Reptile attacks at the beginning of this thing. And Kano kills him by doing his fatality from the game by sticking his hand in, ripping his heart out, and pulling it out. And then he goes, yeah, Kano wins. And I'm like, why do you say that every time you beat someone? Like, why are you referring to yourself in the third person? That's, what the fuck, what? Why would you say that? And then there comes a moment after, like, Kung Lao splits Natara in half. He goes, flawless victory. That sounds so stupid when just a random person says it. And then, again, full spoilers on this one. Liu Kang kills Cabal and kills him with, again, it looks nice. It's the fatality from the game, which he has a giant fire dragon come out. So it's like, again, like, that's a good bit of fan service that they did the fatality from the game. But then as Cabal is being destroyed in the fire, he goes, fatality. He actually says fatality about himself as he's dying. The level of stupid that takes to think it work. It would make more sense for a voiceless narrator to suddenly come in and say that. It would have, like, if they had done that, I would have been more okay with it.
I actually, like, made a joke about, like, how at the end when the good guys win, they're like, friendship, and then just, like, freeze frame as they all jump in the air or something. Like
they did in the Street Fighter movie? It would have been less dumb than what we got. Oh my God. Like I said, it was like, this is, you're just saying things to make people go, that's it. That is all this movie is. And, like, I don't know, maybe some people's standards are that low, but mine aren't. We're living in the day and age of the MCU at this point. You can ask for good movies, people. Jesus Christ.
I actually did have lower expectations for this movie, and this movie met my lower expectations, so that's probably why I'm not as disappointed. That being said, we should have video game movies at a higher standard.
Yes.
Like Detective Pikachu and the Sonic movies.
I actually thought about Detective Pikachu while we were watching this, because Detective Pikachu is another film that it is just made for the video game fans, because that movie does not do a good enough job of introducing non-Pokemon fans to the world of Pokemon. So if you're not a Pokemon fan, I can see you being completely lost watching that movie. However, if you are a Pokemon fan, there's a story, there's characters, there's interesting things happening there. There's actually, like, stuff set up, and there's actually, like, a thing to follow in there. There's a payoff in there. Like, yeah, it's, you know, things you look for in a movie. This doesn't have that shit. And it's shocking to me that it's like, you can't get, like, the basic shit in here. Like, this is the thing that I have to come back around to. This is the dumbest thing in this entire goddamn movie, and it's the thing that made me go, you have to be fucking kidding me. It's that Again, the explanation of the whole Outrealm tournament thing, it's literally 3 sentences. That's it. That's just it. It's just like, it's one title card that just pops up, and that's it. And there's no further explanation, aside from, like, at one moment, like, Liu Kang is, like, walking through the temple, and is, like, talking to them about, but he basically just says what the title card says, so there's not really a lot of further explanation. They're like, there's a moment in which Raiden is talking about how, like, the Elder Gods are prohibited from entering into something. It's like, did you even set up the concept of gods? Did you? I don't know if you did. It might have been like a real quick thing that you just passed by, but that feels like for people out there, like, that feels like Sonya Blade just suddenly find out, like, oh, Elder Gods, I have questions. But no, none of that shit. So, we know there's a tournament, and they're going to fight each other. There comes a moment in which Shang Tsung just invades their temple. Just invades their temple with his army, and Raiden says the tournament has not begun yet, and he says, but the rules of combat outside of the tournament are not written. Like, yeah, so basically just said, like, we can still fight outside of the tournament. So his plan is to kill the Earthrealm defenders before the tournament begins. And they block him off. And it was like, okay, so they're gonna kill him before the tournament begins. But then they block him off, so they put up this big energy barrier so that they can train. I was like, okay, so now they're going to train and then going to meet in the tournament. Then the energy barrier gets dropped when Kano betrays them, and then they invade, and then they start fighting them, and then that's when John Smith's energy power is like when his superpower, which is just like armor, but the armor is never explained. Like, he gets armor, and when the armor gets punched, it starts glowing and humming.
Like, I feel like he's supposed to be like absorbing the energy.
But it's like, does he absorb it to make him stronger? Does he absorb it, and that's why he was able to form like the weapons they created? Does he need the kinetic energy to form like a physical thing? Does it make him stronger? Is it like, oh, you can only take so many hits and then you explode, so there's like some kind of a threat to it? Do you have like a Black Panther, like the vibranium suit just explodes and lets out a radial burst thing? Like, there's no explanation for it at all. You just get the suit and it glows when it punches. Okay, so what? Yeah, again, it's like we had to explain why Jax has robot arms, kind of, but we have no explanation for the thing that actually needs an explanation in here. Yeah, which also, at the very end of this thing, again, full spoilers, Sonya at the very end of this thing kills Kano, and then she, with no training, everybody else had trained to weaken their powers, she with no training, then teleports in, shoots out her energy blast to kill off Melina. And all I could think was, in the game, she has energy blast because she has gauntlets that fire the energy blast out.
She has no gauntlets in this.
So that just comes back around to my whole thing of, you don't need an explanation for why they have superpowers. No one's asking for that. Jax has robot arms because they built him robot arms. Done. Sonya can shoot out an energy blast because she has special gauntlets in the game. You don't need the mystical magical tattoo that transfers superpowers from one person to the next. And, you know, Liu Kang shooting out fireball. I train in this temple where we know mystical techniques. Done. Like, that's it. You should probably take the time you're spending to explain this thing that needs no explanation and use on, I don't know, Outrealm, the tournaments, Elder Gods, all that shit that wouldn't make sense to someone. Okay. But anyway, they drop the barrier, then they come in, they attack, John Smith gets his powers, then all of a sudden out of nowhere, he's a master strategist and he has the perfect plan to be able to take them all out of using Raiden's ability to teleport people around. And then they all get in one-on-one fights, and some of the fights are like scenes from the games, which again, that's it, that's all this is. And then they get them, they kill these people off, and then I was like, and it was when they were getting into that fight that all of a sudden I went, wait, is this the tournament? Hold on. Is this the No, this is not the tournament. How much time is left in this thing? Oh my God, there's no time left in this thing. Hold up. So this entire thing was the tournament is the important thing, because if they win this many rounds, then all of a sudden then they're going to take over Earthrealm. Well, we can't fight now because it's not the tournament. No, we can fight outside of the tournament. Then they fight. And then there's no tournament. That's it. This is, I know people are saying like, well, they're saying it up for the later games. They have assembled their characters together. They've assembled all these characters together. And the villains assembled all their characters together. And then they fought in this. This would be like if in the Avengers all come together. They get there. They form the team. They all fight Loki. And then after they come together and they fight Loki, Loki then just goes, well, I'll see you for when we actually fight. And then they look at each other and go, well, we're not the Avengers yet. Split, walk away. I was like, what the fuck was that? What What? Why would you do that? Why? It is crazy to me. That's wow. Holy crap. Oh my God. Yeah, it is. It's really just like, who on earth thought that was, like, they're trying to do some, I bring up the Avengers because they're trying to do some Avengers stuff where it's like, no, we're going to set up all this stuff. And it's all leading up to the big tournament. And there's like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. I'll admit, if you want to make a Scorpion Sub-Zero movie, set that stuff up, great. Because they don't do nearly a good enough job setting up Scorpion and how he's like a hell demon now. None of that shit gets really set up except aside from like, yeah, he's now in the underworld. That's it. All right. And then you get one really bad CGI of him being in the underworld. And that's it. There's none of that shit set up. And like all the other stuff in there that needs to be set up for like the tournament, you pretty much have already set up in here. So just go into the tournament. You don't really need that stuff. It's okay. Sorry, I know I'm getting all over the place, but this movie, it did things to me. It did things to me. Okay. But it's so insane to me that, like, you set up the tournament, and this whole thing is about not the tournament. And for anybody else there is like, well, I wanted to see them set that up, and I want to see what leads into that. At the end of this movie, Cabal is dead. Melina is dead. Goro is dead. So many of the big villains that are actually, like, I'll admit, there aren't, like, I like Natara, but I'll admit she's, like, not important to the whole thing. Like, I'll admit she's a jobber. Raiko, jobber. Yeah, I'll admit that. They're not that important. But Kano is dead. Goro, Melina, major freaking villains are dead leading up to this thing, and all you can think is, who the fuck else is going to be on Team Outrealm? You killed them all. What? I was like, all you can think is like,
maybe that's why there's no tournament.
Yeah.
It's like, well, shit, I got no fighters.
What the fuck? What are you waiting on? Like, are you going to set up Kitana now that you don't have Melina? No one gives a shit about Kitana if there isn't any Melina. It's insane to me that, like, again, Melina is one of the most popular villains in the entire series, and they just kill her off when they have another movie with the important shit planned in it. That's like a Batman film where you kill off the Joker before he becomes Batman. What? It is insanity to me how badly thought out this film is. Like, I'm trying to think of what villains they could have. There's like Shao Kahn as the big villain. Shang Tsung's still there. I guess you could get Quan Chi. And after that, I'm like, who the fuck? Like, Cobra? Su Hao? Like, I'm trying here, people. Devora, I guess you could get her. She's from the different timeline, but I guess, like, they don't really give a shit about that in here.
Yeah, like, they're just gonna, the sequel's gonna have, like, all the most obscure Mortal Kombat characters ever.
You say that, but we had Raiko in this one. It's like, man.
Exactly, like, if they pulled him for this movie, like.
Who the fuck else is left in this one? Oh, my God. Yeah, and again, it was like, to the people out there who are like, well, I'm okay with them waiting with them saying things up and then waiting for the tournament in the next one. Sub-Zero dies in this, and I know that in the original Sub-Zero, the original Sub-Zero dies and he comes back as Noob Saibot, and then Sub-Zero's younger brother comes back and he's the good Sub-Zero in there, so you can still do all that stuff. But I'm like, why wouldn't you have Sub-Zero be in the fucking tournament on their side and fight against Scorpion and all this? I don't. It's so... Again, I have to keep coming back to this. If you want them to set the tournament in the sequel, shouldn't you set up something in this film that is more than just we're training for the tournament? That is like you training that's like you having a Rocky film where the Rocky film is just him training and the prize match is the next movie. That's what this is like. But then it would be like if you killed Apollo Creed in the movie where he's training to fight Apollo Creed. It is just crazy to me. It's insane how incompetent this film is. I will say this, I think some of the action's good here, and when they actually do use the budget, it does look nice. but the acting is terrible in this thing. None of the characters are interesting except for kind of Kano, and even he's annoying, but at least he's something. And they didn't give a shit about setting anything up. It's so bad. So I'm gonna give this like a 3. And I think I'm being more than generous on that. What are you gonna give it?
Probably a 6, because like I said, it lived up to my low expectations, and I thought it was stupid funny. I was not tired and not trying to force myself awake like I did with the Monster Hunter movie.
Hey, I'll admit things happened in this movie.
Yeah, maybe not really a 6, but like a 5.5. Like, not a 5, because that's like... A 5 would be like, it's... Nothing. Like, it would be a 5 if it lived up to my expectations and I did not find it entertaining, but because I kind of, like, enjoyed it a little bit, even because of how stupid it was, it's like, it gets a little extra from me.
Oh, I'll say this about this movie over the Monster Hunter film. At least this movie doesn't have the promise of potentially dragging down other films in the future. Like, this thing, if it's going to have bad future films, they're just going to at least be bad future Mortal Kombat films. At the end of that Monster Hunter film, they set up a Capcom. Yeah, no, they shit up. I said the right word for that Monster Hunter film. They set up a shared Capcom cinematic universe. I was like, oh, well, now I'm really worried about that upcoming Resident Evil movie that you're working on. So yeah, but aside from that, yeah, I think I'd give like that Monster Hunter film a 4, honestly. And this one, yeah, it's a 3. I really dislike this thing. I don't even know how long we've been talking. I've lost my voice. Holy crap. So.
Did you get it all out of your system?
I think so. I think I've covered everything that I want to talk about in this film. Yeah. I think I've covered pretty much everything. This movie's garbage poo-poo. Oh, man. So that's it. I got nothing else to give on this one. It is just, wow. It's stunningly bad. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I don't know the next movie that comes out. Like we said earlier, movies are starting to return to theaters, so we'll be going back to one of those pretty soon. But yeah, let us know what you thought about this movie down below. I don't think anybody hated it as much as I did. I know I've seen other people's reviews, and yeah, a lot of people did not like this movie, but most people were like, yeah, it's a 5.
Like me, so.
Yeah, so I know that I just really, I was flabbergasted by this freaking thing. So yeah, let us know your thoughts down below. I gotta go and get some tea for my throat or something.
He'll calm you down.
Yeah. I feel like a weight has been lifted off me. I feel pretty at ease. Yeah, I feel at peace now. So yeah, thank you guys very much. I know some people are going to say, you didn't really talk about that Scorpion Sub-Zero fight. I don't give a shit. That comes too late for me to care. That is a cool fight, but it comes so late after so much garbage, I do not care. Like, it is impossible at that moment to make me care about anything in this film. So yeah, thank you guys very much. Although, it was kind of funny that, Hanzo turns to Cole, who is his descendant, and says something to him in Japanese. And all I can think was, have we ever established that Cole knows Japanese throughout this film? I don't think it's been established at all in this movie. So he's just standing there like, good to meet you too.
Just like how they don't establish whether they know Japanese or Chinese in the beginning.
No, they do have that moment in which Scorpion does say, I don't understand your words. So I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of a nice thing. It does kind of feel dickish beyond to taunt we know that he knows Japanese. He was speaking Japanese earlier. So it is kind of dickish that he's taunting Scorpion and specifically is doing it in the language he knows he doesn't understand. But yeah, I will also say the guy who played Sub-Zero, not bad. I could see him coming back as a new Cybot. That's it. I got nothing else, guys. This movie is so fucking bad. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Come back next time. Bye.
Bye.